Ukrainian drones carried out a massive attack on several regions of Russia, and 2 factories important for the Russian military-industrial complex were hit. As Russian publics write, Russians complained about explosions in Nevinnomyssk, Stavropol Krai, and reported dozens of arrivals. It was claimed that the target of the attack there was the chemical plant Azot. Later, the city mayor showed a video of the plant's territory in the distance and praised the plant workers, thereby indirectly confirming that this enterprise was the target of the attacks. The plant has been attacked by drones for the second time in the last 2 months. It suspended operations in June after an attack. This plant is a major producer of nitrogen fertilizers and ammonia, and is also part of the EuroChem group. Earlier, the media reported that the enterprise supplies nitric acid to the Sverdlov plant in the Nizhny Novgorod region, which is used to produce octogen and hexogen, which in turn are used for artillery shells. In addition, explosions were heard in the Tambov region. Local telegram channels wrote about an attack on a gunpowder factory in Kotovsk. Later, videos of smoke after strikes in the area of the factory were published. At the same time, there are no official reports of the attack. There were also reports of a massive drone attack in Stavropol Krai. In Timashevsk, UAV debris fell on the territory of the railway station, leaving it without power supply. In addition, in the Rostov region, local residents wrote about numerous explosions in Taganrog and Novocherkassk. On the night of July the 20th, drones attacked Moscow and the Moscow region, causing fires there. Moscow Mayor Sergei Sobyanin stated that cars caught fire from falling debris and a residential high-rise was damaged. On the night of July the 18th, drones attacked Moscow and Dzerzhinsk. As expert Anatoly Krapchinsky noted, the strikes that Ukraine is carrying out on targets in Russia are aimed not only at hitting the target, but also exert psychological pressure on residents of Russian-populated areas. A new Russian decoy drone used to fool Ukrainian air defense is made entirely of Chinese parts, the Telegraph reports. The discovery made by Ukrainian intelligence is the first time that Russia has used weapons made entirely from Chinese components. It is further evidence of cooperation between Beijing and Moscow, despite Chinese leader Xi Jinping's insistence that his country does not supply lethal weapons to either side in the war in Ukraine. Although Chinese technologies are used in other Russian weapons, they have always been combined with components from other countries, the publication added. Ukrainian intelligence also said that they had managed to seize 2 new drones and disassemble them. We are talking about the CBTS.611000 drone, which is usually used for reconnaissance and as a decoy, but it can also carry a warhead weighing up to 15 kilograms. Almost half of the components of one of the drones were made by CUAV Technology, a company based in Guangdong province that advertises itself as an open-source drone solutions provider. These parts included a flight controller with autopilot, navigation modules and antennas, an airspeed sensor, and a pitot tube. In 2022, the company announced that it would impose restrictions on the export of its products to Russia and Ukraine to prevent their use for military purposes. However, the recently discovered drones are not the first time that CUAV technology products have been found in Russia, the Telegraph recalled. In addition, according to Ukrainian intelligence, the Chinese drones contained an engine and electronic ignition module from Mile Haoxiang Technology, a first-person camera from Foxeer Technology, and a Chinese copy of the Australian RFD 900X data transmission module from RF Design, which can transmit data over a distance of up to 40 kilometers. This system allows for the creation of a data transmission channel from a UAV to a ground station or between UAVs, thereby increasing its reconnaissance capabilities. Ukrainian intelligence added, China is secretly supplying engines through front companies to a state-owned drone maker in Russia under the guise of industrial refrigeration units to avoid Western sanctions if discovered. Reuters reports, citing information from 3 European security officials and documents. According to them, these deliveries have allowed Russian arms manufacturer IEMZ Kupol to increase production of Garpia A-1 attack drones despite US and EU sanctions imposed in October to disrupt the company's supply chain. In particular, an internal Kupol document shows that the company has signed a contract with the Russian Defense Ministry to produce more than 6,000 Garpias this year, up from 2,000 units in 2024. The document says that more than 1,500 drones have been delivered by April. From within the Russian propaganda machine, increasingly alarming assessments of the situation in the country are beginning to sound. One of the well-known Z bloggers, Maxim Kalashnikov, openly described the rapid deterioration of the situation in the Russian Federation, and it is no longer just a matter of military failures. Kalashnikov was upset by the aviation collapse that Ukrainian UAVs caused to Russia. Now, as I am filming this program, it is already clear that air traffic is being disorganized due to constant drone attacks. This is very painful for the Russian Federation, Kalashnikov said. He noted that the scale and regularity of Ukrainian strikes on Russian territory are already directly affecting the functioning of key infrastructure. According to him, the undermining of stability is felt at all levels, from the transport sector to the political system. It is clear that the noose of crisis is tightening around us, a very acute, systemic one, no longer just an economic one, the blogger admitted. Kalashnikov stressed that even if military actions were frozen, the crisis would not disappear. It would continue to develop, since the destruction had already affected the fundamental foundations of the state. It will naturally not end, even if military actions are frozen. And that is where things are headed. He added, the most resonant confession came at the end of his speech. According to Kalashnikov, the current crisis has become a trap from which Russia can no longer escape. His formulations sounded downright hopeless. The approaching crisis has become a trap for us. It leaves us no choice, complained the Z blogger. Such statements from Kremlin-loyal bloggers are a clear signal that even within the Russian information bubble, it is no longer possible to hide the failure of Moscow's strategies. Ukraine, continuing to strike at logistics and military infrastructure, is inflicting asymmetrical but extremely sensitive damage, destroying the illusion of internal control. Against the backdrop of these words, it became clear even freezing the war will not save Russia from a deep and protracted collapse that began not at the front, but in the country's governing system itself.